What's up? Welcome back to the MindShare Podcast. I'm David Greenspan, and this is episode number 367, our first episode of 2026 of the brand new Season 8. Now, we're officially 1 week into the new year, and if you're anything like most people I talk to, one of three things is happening right now. Either you got off to a great start and you're feeling really good, maybe you're still trying to get going, or you've already fallen behind, and it's only the start of January. Now, I'm going to start today with a quick story. A client of mine, 26 years in the business, she just had her biggest year ever in 2025, like doubled her income, doubled her production, and on December 31st, we were together, and she looked at me and said, "It's time to start all over again." Now, at first I thought, that's like a professional's mindset. You know, new year, new scoreboard, no coasting. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something else was sitting underneath that statement. Like, underneath everything she just said to me. It sounded heavy. Like she climbed a massive mountain, planted the flag at the top, and now had to walk all the way back down just to start all over again. I think a lot of people feel that right now. It's not about being lazy. It's not about being, necessarily like unmotivated or even tired. So today, it's not about hype. It's not about New Year's resolutions. It's about how you actually restart without crushing yourself under the weight of this entire year that's ahead of us. So let's look at the weight of starting over, because that can be real heavy for a lot of people. Bottom line, January messes with people's heads. The scoreboard resets to zero, even if you had a great year the year before. And so our brain, and this is like anything in life, when we work really, really hard for something, and then all of a sudden, it's like, boom, it's over. Got to do it again. And I mean, I'll come back to something like the Blue Jays this past year, which is really still just a tough discussion for me. But when you think about how close we were to winning World Series, you think about how much effort and energy and hard work it took, and the ride between the players, the staff, the fans, everybody. We were that close. So you could say we won. And I mean, realistically, on so many accounts, what an incredible, incredible season for the Blue Jays. But they didn't win it in the end, didn't get the championship. And even if they did, they're still going to start a new season. And they're still going to have to do it again. And so that's where, again, the brain immediately goes. When we accomplish something, we've worked so hard and put in so much energy, we ask ourselves, can I do it again? Can I go bigger? Where are my next deals coming from, especially in a world like the one we live in? And we ask ourselves, and I know a lot of people do this, but it's like, was last year a fluke? And that pressure, it hits fast. And the part that nobody really talks about is that, again, January isn't hard because of laziness. It's hard because we're tired. Suffering from a holiday hangover. I mean, I heard it from somebody, the other day. Just slow to get going. After a long year, this is kind of normal. We've been running, we've been grinding, we've been managing, we've been producing, and now we're just supposed to do it? Do it again? Now, there's actual data behind this. A Strava study on goal-setting behavior shows that Quitter's Day, yes, there's a day called Quitter's Day, is the day that most people abandon their New Year's goals. That day falls on the second Friday of January. Now, I'm going to kind of throw a little caveat into this one, because the second Friday or the first Friday of January this year was January 2nd. And so, most people are still in their holiday groove, still kind of coming off of, let's say, the New Year's and the holiday season and celebrating Christmas and Hanukkah, whatever. And so there's this, I guess on that front, I would say that first Friday really, a little bit of an anomaly, or not anomaly. That's not the word I'm looking for, but like we're going to wipe that one off. And we're going to say the second Friday in January this year, and not according to calendar, but according to theory we're talking to here, would actually be the 16th. Okay? By that time, again, that's Quitter's Day. By that time, roughly 80% of people have fallen off their goals, have fallen off the plans, have fallen off this like wave of I'm going to do something big this year. And by February, only 8% of people are still on track. Not because they don't want it, but because they started with pressure instead of having an actual plan. And I've told you before, and I tell my kids this, I tell many people this, but audiences, most people know what they should be doing, but most people just don't do it. And that's what makes it so much easier for you to win. It's just do it. Like literally, just do it. So let me say this clearly. If you're not in full stride yet, there's not something wrong with you. This is very normal. And if you started strong, hey, I'm really happy for you, but hey, don't get cocky, don't get complacent here. And if you do feel like, oh my God, I had all these plans and I was ready to roll, but man, it ain't going the way I wanted it to, and it's not starting the way I wanted to. I feel like I'm already slipping. This right here, right now, it's your moment to correct it, not to ignore it. Now there's this, cliche, right? One day at a time. It's not really a cliche, in fact. It's a strategy, right? We talk about it, and I know I say it a lot, one day at a time. And people are like, oh, yeah, just got to take it one day at a time. And hence why, the cliche. But I'm going to tell you straight up, it really is a strategy. People hear that one day at a time, and they think it's soft, but it's not. This is how mountains get climbed. And every time I think about that, I think of climbing Mount Everest, tallest mountain in the world. Most people, let's be real, we're not getting to the top of that thing in a day, right? It's just not going to happen. So we've got to think about our goals and our life and our big plan as exactly that. It's a mountain. And nobody will burn out because of one hard day. But we will burn out because we try to carry the entire mountain, the entire year on our back. And that's really where people screw it up. We measure results before actions. We measure results before actions have actually had time to compound. So what do? We look at, income. Did I make money? We look at deals. How many deals do I have going? In our world, it's like listings. How many listings do I have on the go? We look at pipeline. What does my pipeline look like? And don't get me wrong, this is good stuff. But when the focus is only there and we start to go, well, I don't have any listings right now, or I only have one, I haven't done any deals yet this year, I haven't really brought in income this year. It's very easy to get down. It's very easy for the mindset to start to say, I'm done, or I can't do it, or I'm frustrated, or I'm overwhelmed, or anything of the sort. So instead of checking income, deals, listings, pipeline, that stuff, you want to check it, it's one thing, but before you do that, we need to be looking at daily discipline. We need to be looking at actions like consistent follow-up. We need to be making sure that our schedule has a what I call a predictable routine to it. Right? We want to be scheduling realistic time with income-producing activities. Results are a lagging indicator. Okay? Actions, though, are the real lever. That's the real strategy to how you're going to get to more income, more deals, more listings, more pipeline, right? It's the actions that you take. And the reality is the compound effect, it does not care how motivated you feel. It only cares what you repeat, what you do consistently. Those tiny little daily actions that we both know are what are going to drive your revenue, drive your success. Thing is, a lot of those tiny little details, those tiny little actions, they really do feel very insignificant in January. Why? Well, think about it. And look, alternatively, like insignificant in January, but like massive by December. And that's not mindset. That's just pure math. But you're starting from scratch. You're starting from zero. The slate has been, wiped clean. And now you got to put in the effort. Now you got to continue to, or start to, restart to make the calls, do the prospecting, have the conversations, reaching out with people, really trying to stoke that fire to get it burning. Right? We don't have the fire burning technically. If we want to, kind of relate this back to like comparisons, visuals, illustrations, your fire is at zero. The wood is there. The way to ignite might be there. The pit is there, but it's not burning yet. So the first step is actually getting it burning. And that's, again, what January is all about. It's to get that fire burning. Eventually, as it's burning, you're going to be able to have a hot fire that you throw bigger logs into that are going to burn faster. You're going to be able to cook on that fire. You're going to be able to reap the rewards of that fire. But we got to get it going first. So again, it's about those small little actions, putting tiny little sticks in there, getting the embers going, putting some air into it, and just trying to get a little bit of a spark. Once that spark begins, and that's the key, getting the spark to begin, now we start to have a fire. And we can, hopefully turn that into a wildfire when it comes to the way our business runs, where it's just burning so hot and so well that a lot of good things are happening for us. Again, off the top in January, it feels difficult because you're starting. By December, all the stuff you did in January, again, compounds to shape our year. Of course, we don't want January to wait all the way to December for rewards. The idea, though, is get started now. And slowly but surely, over a period of time, you're going to start to see how all of the rewards are coming back to you. That compound effect kicks in. And in fact, when we think about it right now, everything we do now, forget December. What we do today sets us up for the results that we have in our busiest season of the year called our spring market. But you can't just turn it on in March and say, okay, that's it, I want April and May to be busy. It does not work like that. It needs time. We need to ramp up. We need to build up. We need to get that fire burning. And eventually, that's where it's going to happen. But that's not the easiest thing to do when you're like slugging and doing and responsibility and getting pulled in a million directions and having all this stuff that's overwhelmed to do. Meanwhile, the biggest thing you want is just to fill your pipeline. I get it. Progress over results. This is exactly how we need to be thinking. Okay? If there's one thing we need to hear in the month of January, at the top of a brand new year, it's this exactly right here. Stop measuring outcomes. Start measuring your actions. Results don't happen unless we act. I'm not going to lose weight if I don't get to the gym and have a good workout and eat properly. I could want it. I could measure it. I could step on the scale daily. But if I'm not doing the actions, what kind of results am I expecting to get? Now, alternatively, acting consistently fixes almost every problem in this business. In fact, probably every problem in life. Okay, it's the consistency. Again, consistency. Magic ingredient to achieving anything we want, right? It's about acting consistently in what it is that we know we should be doing in order to have the results that we want to have. And I keep coming back to this word pipeline, and I know that pipeline anxiety is very real. We all feel it as business owners, as hunters. It's really, really important that our pipeline is full. It makes us feel better. It makes us feel more relaxed. And everybody feels it at this time of the year. Whether you're new, whether you're experienced, whether you're a top producer, it doesn't matter. The difference, though, it's in how people respond to it. Some people absolutely panic. Some people absolutely freeze. Some people will just sit back and just complain about the market. But what I've noticed through the people we get to work with, through the training groups and the coaching, is that the professionals And there truly is only a very small percentage of those people in this industry. Hence why I say a lot of people need to get out of this industry. The professionals, though, the reason they're the pros, the reason why they succeed is because they go back to basics. See, what doesn't change for them, then I kind of listed some of this before, but daily prospecting, consistent follow-up, tracking the conversations to know who they're talking to, what they're talking about, staying visible, which we'd call building mindshare. Those are like really easy things to do. Again, daily prospecting. Spend 30, 60, 90 minutes a day trying to figure out how you can meet at least one new person. Add them to your database, onto your 10-year plan. Consistent follow-up. It's not just about meeting people. It's about building the relationship with them and understanding that real estate is a long game. Business is a long game. People don't just sign up and buy immediately because you want them to. And then we talk about building mindshare. It's too simple, yet we make it so overcomplicated. And I can tell you this too, when I mentioned about training groups and coaching groups, and the fact that we've had the ability to take part in, to assist in, to be involved in over $46 billion in real estate transactions in my time in this game. One of the things we've seen about the data across coaching and people we've spoken to and the research I've done, agents who prospect and follow up consistently, they consistently generate 4 to 6 additional deals per year. And sometimes a lot more than that. And that's without changing anything. No big, bright, shiny objects of AI. No big, bills for online lead generation from a bunch of random strangers. Like real prospecting, real follow-up, real focus on their marketing. And listen, that ain't sexy necessarily, but it's definitely reliable. See, our pipelines aren't built in these I'm going to go build it right now. This spurt. Pipelines are built in boring, repeatable blocks of time. Every day we are going to focus, again, that 30 to 90 minutes on a prospecting. And I say 30 to 90, I realize that there's a sort of again, 90 minutes there or 30 minutes, there's a little bit of a gap there. But it depends. Are you door knocking? Are you cold calling? Are you going out to an event? What are you doing? Follow up with your contact list. Put it in for 30, 60 minutes. How many people do you need to follow up with? If we know that we're looking at our call or our schedule for tomorrow, tonight I can determine how many people am I supposed to be followed up with tomorrow. So I can decide on what kind of block of time that needs. And then a lot of times when you do that, and let's say you door knock or you cold call or whatever, you're going to fall on deaf ears. People won't pick up the phone. People won't answer the door. And even if they do, they tell you they're not interested. Again, it's like I'm sitting there doing the slug and this work sucks. I'm not getting the immediately results I want. And yeah, it's boring because we're not getting the hype out of getting the deal. The person who's like, yeah, tell me more. Or yeah, send me that CMA. Or yeah, I want to list my property. Much the same with follow-up. You got all these people that were interested. They said they wanted to do something. You're like, all right, I'm going to call you. We're going to do something. And all of a sudden they're like, we're not there yet. We're still watching the market. We think our house is worth $1 million when you're like, it's only worth $7 million. So again, you're sort of sitting there doing the work and you get away from, or you come out of your day and go, what kind of results did I get? Man, I didn't get that hype. I didn't get that energy. Again, boring. But I will encourage you, do it again tomorrow. That repeatable block of time. See, back to this thing I've argued many years now, the whole definition of insanity by Einstein, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Realities, by doing the same thing over and over again, learning from what you did the first time, making it better the next time, you will get different results. In fact, that's how life works. Try, fail, learn. Try, fail, learn. Try, fail, learn. And failure is not fun. In fact, it's probably worse than boring. But through that repeatable block of time that we continue to put effort into, you're going to find better ways to do it. If you're cold calling, you're door knocking, you're following up with people, you're going to find better words to use. And I mean, we work with our clients on this stuff all the time. What to say it, how to actually convert, what are they saying wrong? We go through all these things because we don't realize it. But in this business, a lot of it comes down to our approach, to the way we not just present ourselves. I don't mean by the clothes you wear, but I mean the tonality, the things you say, the empathy, the way you're able to work at getting into somebody's mind to help, ultimately help them. But let's be real, to help yourself too, right? So again, I want to encourage you here. Always think progress over results. Am I doing the work I need to do to get the results that I want to have? If I just measure results and I don't do the work, the reality is I'm going to be very disappointed. If I do the work and I track the work, I know the results will come. It's the difference between having a plan and not. The more you actually do the actions and the more you honestly track, and I use that word honestly very specifically. Honestly track if you are or are not doing the work. Then the more the results you want will actually happen, or they won't. And that's the beauty thing about the compound effect as well, is that again, if I'm tracking the actions daily, not weekly, I can be a lot more focused on what I am doing and what I'm not doing and have very honest conversations with myself with almost a 24-hour reset. That if today didn't go exactly how I wanted it to or how it should have, I have the opportunity to reset it tomorrow. Now, take a quick sponsor break as we always want to here. This episode is brought to you by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, the award-winning Keep in Touch program. This is your solution to more leads and more repeat and referral business. If you sell real estate, you need Kits. Go to MindShare101.com, click on Marketing to learn all about the Kits Keep in Touch system, to connect with our team, to get a free demo, to ask all the questions, and to understand how Kits is going to help you build more mindshare so you get more market share. Along with REM Real Estate Magazine, our friends who host, run, publish Canada's premier magazine for real estate professionals and industry stakeholders for news, analysis, and commentary on Canadian real estate. If you want to know what's going on in this industry, you got to go to REM. Be sure to get connected with both of these industry-leading companies. Now, as we talk about progress over results, we talk about the compound effect. Understand that systems, and we hear that word a lot, right? Systems. It's like, what does it actually mean? But systems, they beat motivation every single time. See, motivation is emotional. Systems, though, are neutral. And motivation will really easily disappear when things are inconvenient, when we're feeling tired, when the results aren't happening the way we want them to. But systems, they don't give a shit about all that. And this is why most don't struggle necessarily with knowledge, but they struggle with execution, right? Like, I know what I need to do, or I understand this business, but it's like, yeah, but are you doing what you need to do? And some people do know what they need to do, but they just don't do it consistently. Now, if you think about a plane that veers off course by 1 degree, and I've got these numbers, so these are legit. You can look this stuff up. But a plane that veers off course by 1 degree ends up 60 kilometers off target for every 100 kilometers flown. 1 degree. It's a very small amount. But think about how big or how far off target it ends up being. Now, the idea here is that you don't notice it right away. It's too small. It's too small. You might not even notice it next week. But by the time it compounds and by the time you get so far off course, you will notice it when this spring market comes up and your pipeline is completely empty and you're sitting back going I have no idea why. And then we start pointing fingers at the market, or we start pointing fingers at the clients, or people are off their rock, or whatever else it be. Systems prevent us from veering off. It's not about willpower. It's not about motivation. It's not about hype. All of that will fade at some point. We get tired. We're human. It's about having a real system that you're going to operate to in and out every single day. And again, those of you as my coaching clients that are listening, I know you know what I'm talking about here. Creating the business plan, tracking the goals, scheduling daily. These are the things that create our system. Beyond that, though, we actually have to execute. We actually have to be present within this system. We actually have to do it day in and day out. We have to measure it day in and day out. We have to be honest with ourselves day in and day out. And the more we do that, the more we realize what we are doing versus what we're not doing. And therefore, what we need to be doing to achieve the results we ultimately want. But I will continue to argue. I will continue to press on this, that if you're not achieving the results, I'm willing to bet it has a lot to do with your structure and your discipline. The path you take every single day, it's still not laid out to be exactly what it should be to get what you want. So how do we create that, right? How do we take all the hype of this brand new year in 2026? And I say hype because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And as much as I'd look back at the year 2025 and tell you it's over, it's gone, quite frankly, for many, it was a shitty year. It was a shitty year financially. It was a shitty year emotionally. It was a shitty year economically. It really was. And I know a lot of people, I know for myself, happy that it's behind us. So here we are looking ahead to 2026, and it's easy to be a pessimist and be like, it's going to be another shitty year. We're just in for a really rough ride. But who's that serving when we're thinking that way? Nobody. So we got to go into this optimistic. We got to go into this with that plan. We got to go into this going, you know what? Yeah, I did restart. I am back at the bottom of this mountain. But you know what? I am roaring and ready to go. So if you want that real reset, and again, no matter where you're at right now, like I said off the top, you've fallen behind, you already feel like you're lost. You didn't have a plan at all. Or you're kicking ass. An approach that works, and I want to share this with you, comes down to doing these 6 things. Okay? The first one here. And I know, again, and I have to talk to my coaching clients directly right now. You know a lot of this. We've already done a lot of this together. So forgive me for you hearing it again from me. But this is important one for you to be able to sit back and say, okay, I'm just gonna back check that I actually did the work. And on top of that, for those of you that are not coaching with us yet, by the way, if you do want to explore what that's all about, to work with us directly, get in touch with my team. Again, go to MindShare101.com, click on one-to-one coaching, and book yourself a free Explorer call. You got nothing to lose. In fact, you got so much to gain. And if you think about, do you believe in yourself? Truly. Look yourself in the mirror right now as I ask that question and answer that. Do you believe in yourself? And if you do, would you be willing to invest in yourself? Well, it depends what it means, how much, and depends what it looks like. No. I'm saying this. If you had to think about taking your money today and investing it somewhere for yourself to make it work better, to make you more money, where would the best place to invest be? And you could talk real estate and stocks and cryptocurrency and ETFs and mutual funds and bonds, etc. We could talk about all that stuff, insurance policies. But what if I said the best place to invest is in you? Inject those dollars back into making you a better version of you. Because ultimately you do that, the returns are going to be massive. And now we will have even more money to, 1, reinvest back into ourselves, and 2, reinvest into those other things that I just mentioned, such as the real estate, the stocks, the ETFs, the mutual funds, the crypto, etc. So you got to think to yourself, what am I doing to invest in me right now? So, again, to my coaching clients, to my folks that are not yet coaching clients but are going to be, I'm looking forward to working with you. My entire team is, so get in touch with us. Let's come back to what I said a moment ago here now. Resetting without burning out, and this approach, the 6-step approach. The first one is audit last year. And a lot of people don't do this. They're like, yeah, I know where my deals came from. No. Like, where did your deals actually come from? Tracking every single deal to see the source of that deal. Was it a referral? Was it from your contact list? Was it from your follow-up? Was it from your prospecting? If it's from prospecting, was it door knocking, cold calling, lead generation, your social media strategy? What was it? What worked? What didn't? Let's double down on what worked and let's cut out the shit that didn't. So again, audit last year. Go back to every deal and understand the source of that deal. It's going to tell us where to focus our time and our energy. It's going to tell us what's working for us. Much the same, I'll encourage you this year to do the exact same thing. Every single deal you do, make sure you track the source. The second one here, reverse engineering your year. To just simply say, I want to do 24 deals this year, doesn't work. Okay, again, you just told me that you want to climb Mount Everest. You told me that you want to do it over this really long period of time. But you didn't actually set out, well, how much do I need to climb today? And how much do I need to accomplish this week? And how much do I need to accomplish this month in order to actually climb that mountain in the period of time I want to climb it? So you might have set a GCI target. You should have set a GCI target. You might have and should have set a number of deals target. Now, if I use that example of I want to do 24 deals this year, don't say I want to do 24 deals this year. Say I need to do 2 deals a month. And I need to have X amount of conversations and go on X amount of appointments to get there. So again, what we're doing is reverse engineering. We're looking at the end game. We're saying, what does that perfect picture look like? Where do I want to be? And then we're working ourselves backwards to say, well, how does that break down? Again, when we think about any of this, I want to go beyond, just the business. I want you to think about the mountain, Mount Everest, and continue to have that visual in your mind to say, okay, I know I'm not going to get to the summit on day one. I have no idea what's ahead of me each day. I don't know how cold it's going to be, how windy it's going to be, how far we're going to get, if it's going to be too dangerous to walk up there today and they're going to keep us at base camp for another day. We don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but we know it's going to take longer than a day. So when we map out what those actions are, it makes accomplishing a lot more realistic. It makes the rewards come more often. Because now I'm saying, well, I just want to climb, X amount of feet today. And I get to that X amount of feet today. And I go, yeah, I didn't climb the mountain, but look what I did today. Hey, I'm feeling really, really good. That injects a ton of energy, a ton of positive dopamine, and it fuels me to want to do it again tomorrow. Now that takes us to step 3. Time blocking for the basics. And I already really listed this stuff to you off the top. Right? Prospecting, follow-up, some of the content to build the MindShare. Protecting that time needs to be protected the same way as if you were meeting with your best client. Because the time itself is that important. For some reason, everybody prioritizes meeting with clients and doing the stuff that responds to clients over some of this basic stuff. Well, how are you going to get the meetings with the clients if you're not building MindShare? How are you going to get the meetings if you're not prospecting? How are you going to get the meetings if you're not doing the follow-up? You want more meetings? You want a bigger pipeline? Protect your time like it's your best client. And I'll go right down to the whole thing with the kids, the family, if you have. If you wouldn't pick up that phone or answer your email or scroll social media when you're with your best client or at a listing presentation, treat that stuff the same way when you're with your family. Don't pick up the phone and do that stuff. Again, time block the basics. That's going to put you in more control of you and your days, which ultimately is going to help you accomplish more. And when you track it daily, you're going to be able to see, am I doing the right things or not? Which really takes me to step 4 of tracking the right things. So yeah, fine, track your GCI, track the number of deals you did. But I'm also going to encourage you, track the amount of calls you made. Track the amount of conversations you've had. Track the amount of appointments that you've set. Who gives a shit? Don't worry about likes. Don't worry about views. Don't worry about all the positive vibes online. It's all bullshit. It's all vanity metrics. Doesn't matter. I could have a video that gets 20,000 views and not get a single deal out of it. I could have a video that gets 10 views and get 2 deals out of it. Who knows? We're not leaving it to chance. We're not leaving it to the online algorithms. What we're going to do is we're going to put it in our hands with full control, and we're going to track the actions we take to get the results we want. Progress over results. Now, I listed off the top two. Sometimes we're not getting the results. We start to feel a little bit down, but this is where step 5 comes in about protecting our energy. Okay, burnout kills consistency. Yet consistency builds momentum. So part of protecting our energy is, again, this is coming back to the goals and what we want in life and where we want to be and what we look at as success. What are you doing for you in a day? How are you making you the top priority? In fact, I'll share a quick story on that. I was talking to my son the other day, Joshua. We were talking about a project that he's doing for geography. And he's done a kick-ass job with this project. Like, it looks absolutely amazing. It's worth 20% of his grade. It's a big project. So we're going through it. And best part is he's got to do a presentation. So I said to him, like, dude, you got to lean on me for this stuff, man. I've done a few of these in my time. Like lean on me. And he knows that, and he does. But here we were working through it, and he got to a point where he started to get frustrated. He kept tripping over his words. He couldn't get the thought out the way he wanted to. And keeping in mind, the kid's, he's in grade 9, right? So he's still a young dude. But he's going through that, and I said to him, like, buddy, we got to channel that competitive spirit that you have for your sports into school. We got to channel it in a way that you're going to use that as a scorecard, where the same way when you get runs across the plate or pucks in the net, that you look at getting good grades as the same type of game. Channel that competitive spirit. And then what we want to do in order to drive that, and this is where, I've been saying this entire episode now, is about, tracking the effort that you put in, tracking what it is you're doing, not just tracking the result. So that you know, how many times have I rehearsed this presentation before I go deliver it live to my teacher to get scored on it? Graded on it. How much effort have I put in? How many hours have I put in? The same way that when he is practicing, to be a better hitter at baseball, he does his reps and he's hitting like 100 balls a day, let's say. Or he, wants to practice blocking as a bat catcher, so he's like throwing a ball against the wall and continuously just getting in positions to block so he can be a better blocker, because that's a very important part of the game when you're a bat catcher in baseball. Blocking a baseball, not letting it get past you. Now, the point that I'm making here is he's tracking his reps. He's tracking what he does. Now, as we keep going, now he's understanding, is he putting in the effort, is he not? Is he getting himself closer to getting the results, or is he not? What I explained to him through the tracking, I was like, this is all in place to make you better. And I said, and just stay with me here, I said, and that's what Daddy focuses on all the time, is tracking. Tracking what he's doing, tracking the effort he's putting in, tracking the actions he's taking to get to where he wants to get to. Because it's not just about getting a good grade on the, on the project, and it's not just about, winning the baseball game. It's about the little actions you take to be in the best position to win. So I said to him, I said, what do you think I track? I said, what do you think is at the top of my goals? And he said, money. I said, wrong. I said, that's actually at the absolute bottom of my list, is money. Because money's just an end game. But there's all this other stuff that has to be done to get there. So what's at the top? And he looks at me and he smiles. He goes, me, Leah, and mommy. My daughter, and my wife, right? And I said, no. And he looked at me like, what? Like he was like shocked. I said to him, I said, buddy, top of the list is me. See, because if I'm not in the best version of me for me, how am I going to be in the best version of me for you? And he could see he was kind of getting that. And that's where I come back when I say about step 5 here about protecting your energy. It's the same thing. If you're not taking time for you in a day to get some physical activity in, to focus on what you ingest in terms of foods, liquids, the real energy, the fuel. It's like going to the gas station. Do you put in regular gas or do you put in supreme gas? And I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying, if you're drinking, cans of pop every day versus, glasses of water, you're putting in, some sort of fuel, but it certainly ain't the best fuel. So physical activity, what you ingest, how you feed your brain. Where in your day is that carved out? See, because that's how you protect your energy. And I know what I get oftentimes, but I'm so busy. I got to run here. I got to do this. I'm getting pulled in a million directions. I just can't focus on this stuff. Realistically, that's a choice. And by not focusing on that stuff and allowing people to control your time and being, you being reactive to your days and you not focusing on you, how are you going to be the best? How are you going to show up in the best light possible? How are you going to keep your mindset strong when people keep telling you no or when the deals aren't flowing the way you want to? How are you going to continue to show up again tomorrow? And if you're not focusing on you, who do you think is? Nobody. So in a big way, you need to understand this. I really don't care how busy you are. I don't care how much you have on your plate, and I don't mean that in a negative. I mean it in a way of saying to you, no excuses, no bullshit here. Taking care of you has to be a priority. And if you're like, but again, I'm too busy, I got too much going on, I challenge you to start carving out time to take care of you and see how much stronger you are mentally and physically to be able to handle any of the shit that comes your way. As we talk about this, I'd say step 6 here is the final step. Somebody said this to me the other day. I got this internal fire burning. I loved it. And that's what I want to say to you is to reconnect with your fire. Not your goal. I want to make X amount of dollars. But I mean the reason, the why behind making X amount of dollars. The why behind why you're getting up every day to do it all over again. What do you truly want? It's not about top producer status. It's not about more money. And yeah, all of that is cherries on top. But it's the ability to say, what do I want to do with all of that? Because if your big goal in life is literally just to get up and make money, I ask you why. What do you want to do with that money? Had that convo with a coaching client this morning. Made comment to that. I love what I do. I love what I do. I seriously, I get high off of what I do. In saying that, if I could spend a lot more time going to the gym and working out, a lot more time hanging with my children and my wife, a lot more time getting on the motorcycle and just riding aimlessly, but still have all this stuff pumping and doing and, providing revenue, I'm an even happier man. Let's just be real. I'm not as focused on work every day. I'm focused on fun and enjoyment every day. And hell, what are we doing if we're not trying to aim for fun and enjoyment? You're living a pretty boring life if it's all just about business. So it's reconnect with that fire. What is it that you ultimately want? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years? And as hard as it is to answer, what brings you fun and enjoyment in life? What brings you fulfillment? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? If you closed your eyes right now and said, I can have anything I want in the world, what would it be? How would you want to spend your days? Figure that out. That's the fire. That's the burning desire. That is why we get up every single day, to continue to do what we need to do. So again, final action steps here, like your reset, simple, usable. Pick one daily non-negotiable income-producing activity. To me, I'm always going to tell you phone calls. Block 90 minutes of focused time for your pipeline and do it every weekday, 5 to 7 days out of the week. Five out of 7 days of the week. Okay? 90 minutes to build that pipeline. Track your actions, not your outcomes. Do it for 30 days. Just start there. Build MindShare with your database and do it on a weekly basis. Don't think that email should go out once a month or once every 2 months. No. You should have an email going out minimum twice a month. I'm going to argue once a week. Social media, being present on a regular basis. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all, but the presence of it, the fact that the platform is free, let's leverage it. And commit to 1 day at a time. Okay? Don't skip ahead. Don't look at the week. on Monday and look at the entire week. We're talking, and yes, have an outlook of like what needs to be done so you're always prepared, but focus on the day. Break the day down to the hours and focus on the hour. Again, be disciplined with that time. That's it. No huge overhaul, no big reinvention, no go learn some sort of technology or chase some bright shiny object or some magic potion. Just pure execution. Look, starting over doesn't mean you're starting from scratch. It means we're starting with clarity. So yeah, the year reset. Yeah, the pressure's real. But you don't need to climb the mountain today. You just need to take today one step at a time. One day at a time, one action at a time, one decision at a time. Progress over results. That's how momentum is built, and that's how 2026 gets won. I'm David Greenspan, reminding you to build MindShare because MindShare equals market share. Thank you for tuning in.